shared responsibility for cloud security. It's a #1 topic. We're going to talk today about the tips how you can become secure. 2, about diversity in the security space, but also about all different kind of topics like how is it going to be in the future. And I have an expert with me, Jenny Brinkley. You're the director at security at AWS. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for making the time, and yeah.
It's a pleasure. And the first thing I would like to talk about is diversity.
Sure.
There's a skill gap in the security domain, and how can diversity help filling the skill gap?
Yeah. I mean, first out of the gate, I'll say security operates in a way where it's going to take a diverse mindset to be able to solve for the next big security challenge. So you can show up and join an industry in a lot of different types of roles and functions to be able to contribute to solve for those challenges. And we have a lot of exciting things happening inside of Amazon to be able to educate and offer free training to help solve for some of those skill gaps. And that's a big part of what I get to do and where my job really satisfies me, especially being a woman in an industry where a lot of people don't necessarily look like me. So I can show up and be my authentic self, help create upskilling programs and educational offerings to bring more people in to solve these bigger challenges that they're just getting more complex. It's just getting messier. And so you really do need a very diverse mindset to be able to go and challenge and push on each other. Because when you have a group think, you're not really going to be able to solve for what's coming next.
Yeah, and if we can think from all different kind of perspectives,
Yeah.
we get a better solution.
Absolutely, and that's the things that I get really excited about within my job and what I get to do within the team. And you've heard us talk a little bit about some of the programs that we have internally, like one being AWS Guardians, which is really focused on how do we help educate builders across the Amazon landscape on some of the ways that they should be operating, both in a shared responsibility model, but also in thinking through how they share tooling and education and awareness, because security can come across as this department of no. It can come across as being really fear-driven. And from our lens, security is a business enabler. So if you think about how can you not slow the business down by security, I kind of flip the script and it's like, well, security can be a real innovator, because if you can ship securely out of the gate, you're unstoppable with what you can do. And that's where I get really fired up about this space right now, because we're just at the beginning of cloud, beginning of creating these jobs for people that had no idea that security was even going to be something that they could get into. And that's what we really push for. And AWS has some exciting programs that we've just shipped. And maybe you've talked about things like this before, and if you haven't, I highly encourage you to check it out. Yeah. But we plan to educate over 29 million people by 2025 on cloud security, or I should say cloud computing skills. Yeah. And then out of that segmentation, we're also building out some really exciting curriculum for people to understand how to educate and get engaged to grow their security skills. From zero foundation. Like, you don't need to know anything about cloud, anything about security.
That's great, so everybody can start with it. You were
Yeah.
talking about the shared responsibility.
Yes.
Why is this so important? Because many people think, oh, security, that's a technology thing, but I don't believe so.
Yeah, for us, we always try to meet customers where they're at. My boss talks about this all the time, Steve Schmidt, who's our chief security officer for all of Amazon. Like, you have to give people an understanding about their responsibilities as they're building and creating on the cloud. The cool thing about AWS is you have all these building blocks, you have all this opportunity to create, but you got to have some fundamentals of how to operate and build securely there. So when you are looking to upskill yourself or get some of that awareness, shared responsibility model gives you that kind of foundation of security of the cloud versus security in the cloud. And I work on a team embedded in AWS security to protect what we build in the cloud for our customers, and how we really think through the different types of tooling, resources, education that customers can really tap into. Because I think when they hear shared responsibility models sometimes, and I've had customers say this to me, they're like, I feel like I'm alone. I feel like you've done this for me, but what can I do to learn? And there's so many great resources, from the online tools that we offer to working with a dedicated solution architect that you can really push on to understand some of your skill gaps, but then also taking advantage of our training and certification programs to really get you more acclimated to operate with confidence on the cloud. It's an exciting time. It's also I think there's a lot of complexity around how people think about security, or even if we get into compliance and some of those frameworks that they should be thinking about. But we really do try to make it as easy as possible for customers to be able to operate not only with confidence, but again, going back to this kind of innovation idea of I want to be able to build, I want to create, I want to ship like the next greatest thing. And yeah.
And to make it easy.
Yeah, and to make it easy.
How can they do it? How can our watches start
Yeah.
improving their security? What kind of tips do you have?
Oh my gosh, so many. I mean, first of all, I would recommend going to our .com pages because there's so much education and information that's there. We offer so much online content, I'm sure you can appreciate, on YouTube and a lot of our other social media channels to be able to hear from experts, kind of get some understanding on maybe a topic that you're really deeply interested in. We work a lot with our cryptography team, for example, and their job is to make cryptography easier. And so when you hear that, you're like, how on earth are they going to make cryptography easier? But with the tutorials and online education that's available, you can get a 101 on how does it work, how does it function, how should I consider, how should I think about it? And we try to take really complex topics and make them as digestible for people to understand. And in the security space, that's where I get to spend a lot of my time is how do you demystify it? How do you remove that kind of fear, uncertainty, and doubt? And how we approach it from almost like this empathetic lens. Because we're living in wild times. And from how we try to enable customers and how we try to enable partners, it's really about knowledge sharing, partnership, and cooperation, because ultimately we all share the same belief system of how do you make the cloud more secure for everyone. Because, you know, one customer has a bad day in the cloud, we all do. So how do we make that so we're all operating with that same confidence?
And I really like that. I share my knowledge every day. So
I love it.
Yeah,
no, it's like I am so honored to be here. So thanks for the opportunity to talk with you.
And if we look a little bit more into the future, what do we expect in the coming year? What can we expect in the security domain?
Yeah, stronger together. I mean, I am really excited to see the type of resources and materials and ways that we're going to start sharing more, you know, how we operate internally, but also giving our customers more visibility and resources and confidence. We've started talking more about the things that we've been doing, for instance, in Ukraine over the past few months. And we haven't really talked about a lot of those things in the past, and not because we didn't want to. It's ultimately, we just operate seamlessly in the background, because when security is operating well, you don't hear about it.
No, if you don't hear anything, it's most of the time good.
Yeah. So we want to start sharing more about how we're, you know, offering different types of tools and resources, and kind of also understanding our responsibility. You know, we have a new leadership principle within Amazon, really focused about that responsibility, not only as an employer, but what we need to contribute back and how we can partner more effectively. So a little bit of a nod. There's some very exciting things that are going to be coming up on the horizon in the next few months, but and things that I'm just so proud to be a part of.
Just promise to keep us updated.
Absolutely, you'll be the first to hear.
Jenny, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot from the audience, and thank you for
my gosh.
your great insights.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Yeah.